Good morning. I hope you and yours are doing well and are in good health wherever you might be listening to this from. Now, I've been watching the news, like I've been following world events lately, and I noticed like this past year there's like this been big push for a war with Iran. Now, I'm an American Muslim, and I came to this country when I was 5 years old. I grew up here. I went through the school and college system here. I have friends here. And, I'm just an American just like everybody else, trying to make it and just trying to take care of my responsibilities and just try to do good in the world in whatever way I can. So I've been seeing a lot of war rhetoric going on, and I'm thinking like this should not be what we strive for, because the concept of this country was for the people and by the people. And as far as I can see, the people's opinions are not being represented in their forms of government. Most people, the issues that they care about are education reform, health reforms, not having their neighborhoods gentrified, and they just want to have an equal and honest existence where they're being paid enough to make an honest living, to take care of their needs, necessities, responsibilities. And the people in charge are really not listening to the people, right? So I mean, you have these wars that are being fought since, I guess, the beginning of this country, and it's all a racket, right? It doesn't serve no purpose. I mean, you have the Afghanistan war, right? That's all about opium and heroin. All of that is being brought over here, and who really speaks up about it, right? It's just the under the guise of freedom. But what freedom do any of you really have? You're being surveilled by this AI reality that we're in now at all times. No matter what you do, what you say, even what you think, everything is being surveilled to a certain extent. So you can't use that guise of a freedom, because I believe all that money that's being wasted on these wars should be implemented for the future of you and your children in this country, whether it's the Flint water crisis, the crisis in Detroit, different crises across the country, such as homelessness, poverty, hunger. Those are the things that, I bet that 1.7 trillion that's been spent so far, it's probably more now, could probably fix all that. But, war is a racket, and innocent people on both sides pay the price for that. Whether it's, innocent kids from here that join the service thinking that they're going to do good, or innocent civilians from, the other side that get caught in the crossfire. And I made friends with, men who have served overseas, and they come back with PTSD. And, they're afflicted with a lot of pain. And they just sit down and ask themselves why. Was it because of the oil in Iraq, where Dick Cheney and Halliburton made $1 billion? Or is it the opium and the heroin trade from Afghanistan, which is, brought over to the U.S., and there's a big opioid epidemic now, and all the rehab centers and the doctors are making a killing, and the military-industrial complex is making a killing in Afghanistan. So at the end of the day, you have to realize who really benefits from these wars. And I would encourage all of you that if you want to bring grassroots change to whatever you're doing, start from your township level and at your state level, where you make sure that whatever bills or arguments or legislations that are being implemented are for the benefit of you and your state, right? And that your tax dollars are not being used to harm anybody, because, there is a spiritual price and a karma for that. But most people that I see here, they're too busy to not be bothered by things that are not affecting them immediately. So they have a mindset that, okay, as long as I have my alcohol, my ball games, my Netflix, and, I live in my nice suburban home, then, it doesn't bother me, and I shouldn't be concerned with it. But, you should be, because there is unilateral karma that comes back to you, right? If you're not worried about those brown kids over there that are being affected by your tax dollars, then that karma comes back, where now you have all these incidents going on in the schools where everyone's just fearing for their own children now. So, it does come back to you, where now you're fearing for the children of your own the safety of your own children, but you didn't worry about the ones that were directly getting affected with your tax dollars. So I would encourage you, if you want to stop the cycle of PTSD veterans and innocent civilians getting caught in the crossfires, make a legislative effort. You got to do more than social media activism. Start writing letters to these people, right? Let them know that, if you support this, then next election season you're out. And because I have a deep sympathy for the innocent kids that join the service from here and they get caught in a never-ending war scenario, and their families get destroyed when they lose their lives here, or they come back and they're afflicted emotionally and spiritually, and their wives end up leaving them, or their relationship with their family gets sour because they just don't understand what they went through. And then you have innocent civilians over there that get caught in the crossfire, and then they try to seek revenge, and then you're just in a never-ending cycle, and the people at the top are just making money and laughing all the way to the top, and they know that it's all a collective. Now you even go to the rehab centers now in America, it's like they don't even want to talk to you, because they got a line of bodies that need beds every day. And where does that come from? That comes from over there. That's your so-called freedom, the opioid epidemic. That's what's being protected over there. And at the guise of innocent people, even here in the U.S., that get addicted and they end up losing their lives. A lot of people I went to school with, lost their lives to opioid addiction. And I believe that wouldn't have happened if they weren't involved in Afghanistan and all these other nonsense wars that never really gave them anything besides losing blood and treasure, and innocent civilians over there that get caught, and they end up getting hurt, and their families. So I would say, for the future of this world and the future of your kids and grandkids and future generations, the best way to deal with this is in a peaceful and lawful way, right? Because you're in America, you have the power to write to these individuals, vote them out of office, run for office yourself. But a lot of you need to stop idly sitting by and thinking that, okay, if it doesn't affect me, it's over there. But that karma does come back, and I would want people of every country to be safe in their homes and with their families. We're not supposed to wish bad upon anybody, but we are meant to speak up, because there is a spiritual price to pay, and Almighty God will hold us accountable. So I would say, whatever country you live in, make the efforts to make sure that your legislators and your state representatives, or your local level, wherever these things are discussed and finalized and pushed for, that you hold them accountable in a legal and lawful way. And you write to them and do your own campaigns and go out there, make your voice be heard, and let them know that I will not let my kids and grandkids or anybody in my family be sent to a war that does not serve anybody's purpose, but to create death and destruction, and to make the top 1% more richer with the agony that they have inflicted on humanity so far. So I pray that one day I see a future in America and all over the world where everyone is respected, regardless of their religion, gender, race, socioeconomic status, because nobody's above one another or beneath one another. We will all be held accountable in this life and the next on an equal measure. So living in a nicer neighborhood with a nicer socioeconomic status, and you knowing more people, that doesn't mean anything. That's only for this life. And as you see, time runs quickly, and all things come to an end. So that's not going to help you in the long run. So please make the effort to counteract these propaganda things that we see on the TV and all the lies that we've been fed before, and just make the effort to make sure that, war and destruction to humanity never comes again while we're in power. Because in order to achieve the concept of world peace that many people have, we got to be able to put our egos down and work with each other, right? So if we're not willing to work with each other, and it's all about, okay, this guise of freedom and patriotism, which you really don't have any freedom anyway. There's other places in the world where you could live a much better life, but you have to strive to make sure that your kids and future generations are not affected by these never-ending wars. Because why should they end it, right? As long as it continues making money for them, right? For the oil and the drugs and all this stuff coming back to US, and then they're creating more customers over here through the opioid epidemic and the rehab centers, and it's all a big circle. And I would want all of you to be active in bringing this change. And, some of you need to get out of that mentality that, oh, it's happening over there, I shouldn't worry about it. But look, the things that are happening over there are directly affecting people here, right? So, if that Afghan war never happened, then, you wouldn't have this opioid epidemic here. So it does affect you, because that the karma and the tax dollars all come back to haunt you because you indirectly participated in that. So you have to make sure that you're writing to your local, state legislators and lawmakers, and you let them know how you really feel. And if they don't accept or respond to you, then vote them out in whatever elections that come out. Because once you vote them out, then they have no power, right? Because they're only nice to you when they want your vote. But after the vote, it's like the whole personality does a 360 flip. So, and if you don't like what they're doing and you don't like anybody else, then make the effort to get active yourself and start from the local community level if you don't have the resources to do it on a bigger level than that. Because it all starts from your own community, right? And if you could do that, then I pray that one day we have a future where we're not being affected by lies, division, PTSD, war, profit on wars, and just the condition that humanity's in. So, I guess we have to be the change that we wish to see. And I wish everybody well, in all countries of the world. And I pray that they all find peace and we get out of this this mentality of us versus them. Because at the end, we're almost in a 2020 world, and regardless of all of our technological advancements, many of us are still spiritually broken. So I pray that you do what's right for the future of your children and grandchildren, and start getting involved, and you just start letting them know how you feel, right? Because that's I think, proper way to move ahead, is by sitting down with each other, by working with each other. Even me as a Muslim here in America, I work with Christians, Jews, Muslims, different races, genders, because I know that's the only way we're going to be able to move forward, and that's together. Because they have aspirations, they have families, they have loved ones, they have a future that they want to build for. And if we don't have that commonality, then it would be hard for us to make a difference in this world. Like, you could go to my local train station and the local area, and I would say people need more help in this country. Use that money to help people here. There's people that need serious help here. And you have,